Hey there, it's your girl Sharon, the number one self-carepreneur in the world. That is where entrepreneurs prioritize self-care, or who at least aspire to prioritize self-care. So, one of the things that I want to talk about today is self-care and when it comes to our finances. And I want to talk about two things. When it comes to our health and when it comes to our finances, they are married. We didn't even know that. You know what I'm saying? When I was younger, it's like, well, you need to exercise and all that stuff. No, that's not what I'm talking about. That part too. What I'm really talking about is our conversations, the things that we do not talk about, the things that we do not address, the things that we avoid. Believe me, even on an emotional basis, even when it comes to, our families, our partners, our mate, when it comes to business, if you do not address things, whatever it may be, I have never seen it. I've never seen it on a personal level and on a professional level as a therapist. Never seen it come out right. There may be times you may say, well, I dodged a bullet on that, or, that skipped me. Oh, I'm so happy. Believe me, I've been there, and I know if any of you are like that with me, like me, should I say, it has come back and kick you in the behind, And so in saying that, do not shy away from learning about everything about you. You need to know. And again, this comes, sometimes I get so excited, I get tongue-tied. But these are the things that we really need to know. And I was watching a video the other day. I don't remember who the young lady was. But it was a real video. And when I say that, it was like, yeah, that is so true. She was saying something about, I need to, pretty much, well, I need to share it, and I need to do that screen share for it. I wish I remember her name, but anyway, what she was saying was so real. It was pretty much, it was saying, oh my, as an adult, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that. All of that is adulting. And even though for those of us who are older in age, especially once we have met that half a century mark, yes. In that we have learned, I'm not going to be chasing all of this. I need to do less. But pretty much we've learned how to set boundaries and things like that. But one thing I will say, it does take all of that. We live in such a duality world, meaning that multiple things are happening at the same time, and not even just two things. We're talking about multiple. And even though I'm going to use when someone passes, we're going to use death as an example, because that one sometimes I think can be controversial, and also in what it's hard for people to talk about because it's so emotional. But what I will say is the things that we don't talk about and not preparing for it and not knowing what people want, what we want, and not sharing that and not writing it down, it always comes back, and it could cause so much turmoil in the family. So why we would do our family like that? And then when it comes to money, we're not always openly talking about money. No, you don't have to talk about like how much you make. But what I will say, when you are in certain communities, you do talk about that. It's not bragging. It's not being too much, because there's an understanding is like for individuals who have nonprofit, you need money for the nonprofit, and you don't have to be begging people out there, for it, not saying it needs to be your own, but you're able to either create something or donate, money to things. So it takes money in order, not just for this world, but for you to be healthy. It is not just because food is high and gas is high. It's not even about that. You need it anyway, just to take care of you, just to be in a safe environment, to be able to have good, clean, running water. So I'm going off on a tangent here, but please forgive me. But my whole point is saying is that a part of being human is for us to take care of ourselves. And when we're not having conversation, again, anyone who's been watching me, I always say everything always comes back to us. Even if someone does something we don't like, and of course I have to always say, aside from abuse, neglect, and when it comes to aside from assault, those three, I don't put that in that category because there's so much stuff that goes along with that, and those are things that people shouldn't experience. I'm not talking about that, but what I'm talking about is us taking care of business, because when we do not take care of business and having conversations and putting things in order and thinking that we have so much time, we've seen it happen with our parents. We've seen it happen for those of us, who may have something in the wellness community or mental health. We've seen it happen with clients and patients. So what are we going to do in order to make things different? What are we doing? It doesn't matter like who you are, but the thing is we can share information. We can put things in place, because when we don't, again, we will reap the consequence. We're either reaping the consequences or the benefits of what we're putting in place. Not always directly. Of course, things happen. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the things in which we have control over. And it's like the more that I learn about like entrepreneurship, the more I learn about money, it is all up to us, because I cannot get mad at somebody because they develop the discipline in order to do the things that they need to do in saving their money and doing the extra work, in staying up late and doing all those things. We can't get mad, when it comes to it. And so what I'm saying is that in the conversations that we are not having, again, everything is on a repetitive thing, and it continue to add up. So when you're not having a conversation, when you are avoiding things, it pretty much opens the gate to something else. So in saying that, how do you want your children and your grandchildren to be? We say that we are building, we're healing, all this generational trauma, and all of this is going to stop with us. Is it really? But you're still not willing to talk about money. I can remember I was like that, and I'm saying I'm still working on it when it comes to other people, but it really has more to do with their reaction than anything else, more so than how I really feel about it, because I know that it's important. Because the thing is, when you think about it, but just think, if you just share information with someone to open the gate to say, hey, let me make sure that my kids and my grandkids, my nieces and my nephews and my godchildren, the people that I love, make sure that they have things in place so that it's not even about if something happens, so that they can have a better future if something was to happen to you, but if something was to happen to them. Because let's get real here. Just look around you. How many people that you know who have been diagnosed, let's say, on the autism spectrum, that's at a very young age. Do you know what happens down the line? And you're, seriously, I've seen it. You're dependent on the government for that? Really? Really? So pretty much what that means is that you're really dependent on other people when it comes to that. And then even sometimes with people with money, they don't always have the money. So what about us? So only thing I'm saying is that we can do the things that we can do in order to make things better. Is it going to stop, for whatever the storms of life from happening? No, but by having some type of financial cushion. Again, I didn't know this information. I probably knew it was out there, but what did I say? I'm going to do it when. And then that's when I know 5, 10, 15 years are gone by. And what was I waiting on? And I know that I'm not the only one. So the only thing that I'm saying is, when it comes to self-care isn't only about, again, the luxury of self-care. It is about the bubble baths, and it is about the massages, and it is about the chocolate cake, or shall I say ice cream and chocolate milk and hot chocolate. As you can tell, I love chocolate, right? It is about those things. But self-care is also the decisions that you make so you won't worry about tomorrow, or you won't suffer the consequences, or at least it won't be as bad. At least you can have options when it comes to these things. Because I'm going to use this as an example. With my stepdad, granted, again, with my mom and stepdad, they were financially comfortable. With my stepdad, he ended up getting 100% of disability. Yes, they were able to, I guess you could say, when they needed more care and needed different housing, is that, yes, they were able to afford to live in independent living, and then they needed assisted living. And it took a whole year. We ended up having to have a family intervention to talk my stepdad into moving, into assisted living. And they needed a whole year because both of their, medical condition has really gotten bad. And do you know what that's like for a family? Whew. I got emotional there. Y'all, that is so, please forgive me. That is so fucking hard. That is so fucking hard. It's nobody's fault. Not saying that. It's nobody's fault, okay? It just is what it is. We didn't have the information that we didn't have at the time, but we have it now. And so your health does impact other people, because having to go to the emergency room, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but at least 10 times over a period of time, emotionally, that is just so much. So what are you doing with your health? What are you doing financially so that your family don't have to suffer that, so that you can have options? And so what I'm saying is that even though they were able to afford to go to assisted living, but that was a whole year of a whole lot of stuff happening on an emotional basis for the family. Of course, you're going to do everything. And thank God, at the time, I had a job where I was working 3 days a week, so I didn't have to worry about taking days off. But I know if I would have had another job, because of the way that I had to take days off, I'm not sure if that would have gone over. So again, what are we doing? And I'm emotional about this because, again, when I look at self-care, it's not just about exercising and eating healthy. It's like having the courage to have the conversations that we need to have. It's about doing the right thing. It's about discipline. It's about, again, you're loving someone so much that to the point you don't care what they're going to say, because that is temporary, because you're doing what's in their best interest. You're not worrying about somebody's feelings. Oh, well, they don't want to talk about that. No, it needs to be talked about because it impacts you too. And so, again, going back to the money, it's like, even though he was 100%, disability with the military, but it didn't afford him the best care in the world. Oh yeah, they offer care. Yeah, he could have gone into assisted living on his own, but why do they don't have assisted living for couples? But you know what? They do. You can find them, but you need money for that. So that's what it's all about. It's about how you are setting yourself up, because no one is coming to save you, and you have the power to do that now. Sit and listen. So whether it's me or someone else to say, hey, let me tell you what I'm doing now in the financial world, because I have extended information now. I didn't have it then. I didn't have this information then, and even if I did, it may not would have helped them at that point, but it can help other people. But what I'm saying is that in order for us to do better and be better, it's educating ourselves, having an understanding, and implementing, executing, taking action to make things better, because you're the only one who can do it. You're the only one who can make a difference. Now, does it mean it's going to stop cancer from coming? Maybe not. But when you are emotionally good, nothing's going to stop you. When you know that, you're financially good, nothing's going to stop you. And so it allows you to fight the battle better. It allows you to stop the battle, to fight the battle better. And so in saying all that, all of this, or what that means is that you hold the key to your future. Again, we're saying we're doing all of this, for our kids, for our community, but self-care is developing, because again, there's still some things I'm still developing. This is one reason why I'm on social media. This is one reason that I am talking to you about these things, because I want to spread the word. It's not just spreading the word, it's about doing something about it. And you know how people are reading, that there's some people who read the obituaries, where I've never been that kind of person. But since I have been in this environment, especially in the financial world, I am reading GoFundMe, and any of those things can happen to anyone. And definitely when it comes to, first of all, the world is so generous, and any of us may end up needing, but one thing I can say, when you have something set in place, it just makes things so much better for you and your family. And so self-care is about taking care of business. Self-care is about having those conversations. Self-care is about you taking responsibility, being accountable, because I'm going to share something else and then I'm going to go. With a family member, they've always had life insurance, and for whatever reason, I can't tell you in that why they stopped. I can't tell you why. And I would ask them about it, and I understand it now. I didn't understand it then. But anyway, after their passing, come to find out they had no insurance. And the only thing I can say is thank God there was a family member who did have the money to help bury the person. But my point in saying that, now again, I'm going off of what I knew, because that was true. They did have insurance at some point. And if I would have known, and this is another reason to talk to each other, to talk to different family members, because that situation, oh my gosh, I put it like this, they cause words to switch, me out of character. But I tell you, but what I'm saying too is that I didn't have the money, and most people don't have the money. And so the question is, do you have the money? Are you going the route where you want to? It's all about discipline it's about planning, and it is about taking action. And so, with that, what self-care move are you making? Go ahead, let me know about setting up a time where you can learn more about how you can be financially prepared for the future. We're not just talking about you dying. No, we're talking about your future of living and the inevitable that's going to happen to all of us. And let's just stop it, because of the fact that we're all going to pass. So let's prepare ourselves emotionally and financially. So I'll be waiting to see you regarding finances, because that is the ultimate self-care act.